Chapter 10 of Mary's Grammar by Jane Marcet. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Jennifer Dallman. Chapter 10, Part the Second, Nouns. Lesson 1. Mary, having passed some months without learning any grammar, her mother asked her one day whether she would not like to know something more of the different parts of speech. Thinking that she was now 8 years old, she was capable of proceeding further in the study. Mary was very willing to proceed. She had no longer any dislike of grammar, and if she thought it a little tiresome sometimes, she remembered the story at the end used to make up for it all. "You mean to go on with the stories too, Mamma?" she said, smiling. Her mother consented, but on condition that she would occasionally make them useful as parsing exercises. "I do not think it necessary to teach you anything more on articles, adjectives, adverbs, conjunctions, prepositions, or interjections. What you have learned of them is sufficient for a child of your age. But there is a great deal more to be said on nouns, pronouns, and verbs." Mary was glad of that, for those were the parts of speech she liked the best. "We will begin with the nouns or substantives," said her mother. "They are divided into two sorts, proper and common. A noun proper is the name of any individual person, place, or thing." Mary inquired what an individual meant. "It means," said her mother, "any one particular thing. You are an individual, and your name Mary is a noun proper, because it distinguishes you from other children. But when I call you child, that is a noun common, because it belongs to all other children as well as to you." "But Mary does not belong to me only, Mamma. There is Mary Hunter and Mary Banks, you know, and a great many other Marys." "Several persons may have the same name, but still it is the individual name of each. It does not belong to all women and children. If I say children, it is a noun common because it belongs to the whole class of children. If I say boy, it is a noun common to all boys, and girls is a noun common to all girls. But if I say John or Harriet, those are nouns proper, belonging to particular individuals." "Oh, yes, I understand the difference. Church is a noun common to all churches, but St. Paul's is a noun proper to that church only." "Town," said her mother, "is a noun common to all cities, but London, York, and Bristol are nouns proper to those towns." "And dog, Mamma, is common to all dogs, but Alfin and Carlo are the proper names of our two dogs." The next thing to be considered with regard to nouns, her mother told her, was their number. "What an immense number there must be!" exclaimed Mary, "for the name of everything in the whole world, you know, is a noun." "The meaning of number in grammar," her mother said, "is much less comprehensive, for it consists only of two, the singular and the plural. The singular means one, a single thing, and the plural means more than one." "I thought," said Mary, "that singular meant something very odd or strange. Suppose we were to see a very funny-looking carriage passing by, you would say, 'Look, what a singular carriage that is!'" "It is true," replied her mother, "that singular is often used in that sense, but the original meaning is the same. You call the carriage singular because there is no other like it. If so, the carriage is single or alone of its kind, and is therefore of the singular number." "Ah, so it is. Well, that is very singular," said Mary, laughing. "But, Mamma, you never say that a common coach or carriage that is not singular is plural, do you?" "No," replied her mother. "The word plural is never used in any other sense than more than one." "So then," said Mary, "a singular carriage or a singular thing does not so much mean that it's something very comical as that it is singular from having nothing else like it." That, no doubt, was the original meaning of the word singular, but it is so commonly used to express extraordinary things that the idea of strange and wonderful became attached to it, and that of being alone or single of its kind was generally forgotten. "What is your idea of the word odd, Mary?" "Something very droll that makes one laugh." "Does an odd glove make you laugh?" "Oh dear, no!" exclaimed Mary. "It makes me more inclined to cry, for you know that you are displeased with me when I have lost one of my gloves and have only an odd one, but that odd is quite another word from the odd that makes you laugh. At least it has another meaning. I believe, my dear, that it is not only the same word, but that, like singular, it had originally the same meaning. An odd glove means that it has no fellow, so that it is alone or singular. And when you say an odd person who makes you laugh or stare with wonder, the original meaning was a man so unlike others that he was alone or singular. Now for the plural number. The plural, said Mary, I know, means a great many things. Not always a great many, for 2 is plural as well as 1,000. The plural, therefore, speaks of any number more than 1. It is usually formed by adding the letter S to the singular. Thus, the plural of dog is dogs. Oh, yes, said Mary, and the plural of boy, boys, girl, girls, and of child, childs. Oh, no, that is not right, cried she, interrupting herself. The plural of child is children. Very true. Though the plural is most commonly formed by the addition of an S, there are many exceptions to this rule, of which child and children affords one example, but there are a variety of others. Tell me, what is the plural of church? It is churches, replied Mary. Then you see that you add es to church to render it plural. You could not say church with an S, you would not know how to pronounce it. The same is the case with the words brush, sash, box, kiss, and almost all nouns that end in S, double S, and CH pronounced soft, SH and X. Yes, replied Mary, the plural of brush is brushes, of kiss, kisses, of sash, sashes, of box, boxes. But what do you mean by CH pronounced soft? As it is pronounced in the word church. In the word monarch, it is said to be pronounced hard, and then only S is added to render its plural. Now tell me, what are the plurals of the words loaf, wife, and calf? Loaves, wives, and calves, replied Mary. In those words, therefore, VES is added. Her mother then told her that in almost all nouns ending in either F, as in loaf, or FE as wife, the F or the FE must be taken away and the VES be put in its place to form the plural. Mary thought of an example. The plural of half, she said, is halves, of life, lives, of knife, knives. Oh, I shall not forget that. Her mother then bid her to observe that nouns ending in Y with a consonant before the Y form the plural in IES, as fly, flies, quantity, quantities. Mary thought there was no end to the variations in changing from singular to plural, but her mother said that there were some nouns which did not change at all, as sheep, for instance. Can you tell me whether the word sheep is singular or plural? No, indeed, I cannot, unless you say whether you are speaking of one sheep or of several. That is because sheep is both singular and plural. You are therefore obliged to point out the number by saying, there is a sheep, or there are some sheep. When you say a sheep, I know it is singular because the article a is never put before plural nouns. But if you say the sheep, it would be impossible to know whether you meant one or many, because the article the may be placed before either singular or plural nouns. Then how can you find it out, Mamma? You may either mention the number, or if you are talking of what the sheep are doing, the verb will point out the number, as the sheep is feeding or the sheep are feeding. That is, said Mary, the verb will point out whether the number is singular or plural, but not the precise number if it is plural. Certainly not. You must remember that when we talk of number in grammar, we mean only the singular and the plural. But, Mamma, if I said a flock of sheep, what would that be? For there is only one flock and a great number of sheep, so that the flock is singular and the sheep are plural. Very true, but which of the two are you talking of? Of both together, replied Mary. If I say a flock by itself, it would be singular, but if I say a flock of sheep, it seems to be both singular and plural at once. That cannot be, said her mother. A flock of sheep is of the singular number. It is the flock you are speaking of. The sheep are only mentioned as being the animals of which the flock is composed." Mary did not seem quite satisfied with this explanation. She did not think it fair towards the sheep. Then her mother added that nouns of this description were distinguished by the name of nouns of multitude, showing that though they are a singular number, they consist of a great many individuals, that a crowd, a congregation, an assembly, were all nouns of multitude. "Let me think of some," said Mary. "There is a herd of cattle, as well as a flock of sheep, and a drove of pigs, and then a swarm of bees." "Your nouns of multitude were all made up of people, Mamma, and mine are all made up of common animals." "But are there not nouns of multitude for things also?" "What do you think of a forest of trees, Mary? A ton of coals, a load of gravel, or a nosegay of flowers?" Her mother then told her that there were some nouns that were of a plural number only, as scissors, bellows, snuffers, tongs, and many others. "I think I can guess why they are of plural number, Mamma. Scissors, you know, are made of 2 blades that cut and 2 handles, so it is sort of a double instrument, and that must be the reason why it is called plural. And bellows and tongs and snuffers are all made of 2 halves also." Her mother thought it very possible that she might be right in her conjecture. She then wrote down some few nouns which vary in the singular and the plural numbers in a very irregular manner, as follows: goose, geese; penny, pence; tooth, teeth; foot, feet; mouse, mice; man, men; woman, woman; child, children; brother, brothers or brethren. Her mother then said that she had now learnt the meaning of a noun proper and a noun common, and also the difference between the singular and the plural number. It was as much as she could well remember at once. She would, therefore, reserve what she had further to say on nouns till the next lesson. End of Chapter 10.